On December 13th, 2018, Rashid Bryan was born to his parents, Deborah and Christopher. They were already known by the Florida Department of Children and Families. The couple's other 8 children have been taken away from them for parents' drug abuse, domestic violence, physical injury, inadequate supervision, and environmental hazard. But the children were returned with no improvement made or said to be made. Rashid was taken into state care for the first 14 months of his life and then returned to his parents. Him and his siblings were once again in and out of the parents' custody until the 10th child was born, and they were in the parents' custody for a while. In June 2020, Rashid injured his leg. He was taken to the hospital by his mom 2 days later, but left shortly after entering the hospital because Deborah refused to let the doctors x-ray him. In October, his siblings said that they would see him vomiting daily, and in that same month, he lost movement in his right arm and possibly the entire right side of his body. On November 6, 2020, 2 weeks after DFC had closed the family's case, Rashid died. He suffered 2 seizures that morning, and he was foaming at the mouth. When his mom witnessed this, she called her sister. Her sister told her to call 911, and she did 83 minutes later. There are thousands of cases like Rashid's of kids dying because of neglectful or abusive parenting. It's the CPS's job to help these kids. They are unable to do that because of underemployment and overworking. CPS says that the typical caseworker in Allegheny County only stays for about 3 years before getting burnt out and leaving. I'll talk about another court case that showcases CPS's problems, and then I will talk about what we can do to save more kids. Now, because social workers are overworked, they get into this routine of not investigating closely enough into every case. This can be very detrimental, not only for the children, but for the CPS worker themselves. In this example, I would provide the case of Gabriel Fernandez. Gabriel Fernandez was an 8-year-old boy. He lived with his 2 older siblings, his mother Pearl, and his mom's boyfriend Iswara Aguirre. They had just moved to a new town, and Gabriel was going to a new school. His teacher, Jessica Garcia, was worried about his home situation when Gabriel started asking, "Is it normal for moms to hit their kids? Is it normal to bleed after getting hit with a belt buckle?" Garcia reported this to the CPS, and the case ended up with Stephanie Rodriguez. She investigated for a little bit, but gave up not having enough evidence to determine the condition of his home life. Garcia continued reporting Gabriel coming to school with bruises on his face from a BB gun, patches of hair missing, scabs on his scalp, and injured lips from being punched in the face. Multiple people took on this case, but they said they never had enough evidence. According to his siblings, they saw him suffer much worse abuse at home for acting too feminine, their mother and her boyfriend calling him gay while abusing him. On May 22nd, 2013, Pearl Fernandez called to report that Gabriel was not breathing. Paramedics who had handled the 8-year-old's body said that he had broken ribs, a cracked skull, and BB pellets stuck in his body. He died in the hospital on May 24th, 2013. When it came to trial, there are documents of undeniable evidence that he was being abused by Pearl and Iswara. Pearl is going to be spending the rest of her life in prison, and Iswara got sentenced to death. Rodriguez and the other caseworkers were charged with child abuse and falsifying records in Gabriel's case. When I was in 5th and 6th grade, I had this friend, and they were being sexually, physically, and emotionally abused by their stepfather. After hearing about this, I always told them to go to an adult and get help. After a few times of getting told no, I stopped. But I always questioned why they never did. Abuse takes away people's hope. The abuser is constantly showing the victim that they have power over them. They have little hope of rescue, and cases like Gabriel Fernandez only diminishes their hope. My solution to this is a 2-part plan that increases employment, decreases the number of cases per person, and most importantly, lets CPS's workers thoroughly look through every case and save more children. First, in order to become a CPS worker, you need a social degree, which only about half the colleges in the US have currently. So we would require colleges to have a social work program. Next, we bring light to the job. Currently, being a CPS worker can bring on a lot of hardship, but with this plan, that would be changed. Employees will feel the joy of being able to save more children more than the burnout and disappointment of not being able to prevent something. By getting more employees, we can most likely guarantee the improvement of the work environment. When we get more employees and more people willing to work for CPS, we can increase the number of offices as well as switch up the way states place offices. Currently, Nevada and Wisconsin are doing this hybrid way based on county and state population, so that their counties with less population have no CPS offices. That's what we will do for all the states that have a population of lower than 4 million. For the states that have a population of higher than 4 million, we will place the offices based off of the county population. This solution will help kids like Rashid and Gabriel. More employees mean that there are more people checking in on what's happening at home, and thus more evidence is collected. I've talked about 2 cases that showcase this Child Protective Services problem and my solution to solve them. Making this more achievable for CPS to help the children that actually need it is what must happen. I encourage you to share all the information you have learned today. And the deaths of Rashid, Gabriel, and many other kids must be known in order to create change in the system.